What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly Vanilli and Kevil. We are here to do a preview of the NFC and AFC championship games for 2017. The Atlanta Falcons versus Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, and the New England Patriots versus Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so the two exciting games, two games with four high-powered offenses. People are contemplating if this is the best tandem of quarterbacks on both conferences of all time. Have we ever had a better four quarterbacks in the championship round? A lot of people are debating whether that is true or not. Four of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, so there's a lot to talk about on the offensive side of the ball. The defenses are a little bit weaker, but I think in the AFC we have two defenses that have gone under the radar all season long, so we'll discuss that and a lot more on this preview. Guys, how do you feel coming into the championship round? Do you feel we have the four teams that deserve to be here? And at the beginning of the year, could you even fathom the teams that were in this situation?
Okay, I'm still quite sad that a certain team didn't make the NFC Championship game, but that's beside the point. I did say in the first preview, when we talked about me and Mitch, when we were on the preview to start out the 2016-2017 season, that I had the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. So I did predict that one of these teams was going to be here at the AFC Championship game level. We'll talk about who I think is going to win that later on. But I think all these teams had reason to believe that they were going to make it this far earlier on in the year. Of course, the Patriots, murky first four games, of course, without Brady, but that's what it came up to in the preview. And then they went 3-1 and have been dominating ever since. 11-1 since in the regular season and 1-0 in the playoffs. You got the Steelers, who have played good. They got the Killer Bees. They added Chris Boswell to the Killer Bees group, and they've been looking really good there. Packers, of course, every single year you got Aaron Rodgers, you got to at least believe you have a chance. And the Falcons may be the dark horse of coming into this thing, but they've certainly proved that they could be an improving team over the next couple of years, and they're trying to make their mark going to the Super Bowl here. So I think all four teams at the beginning of the season had to believe that they had a chance coming in here, and we're going to certainly see who's the best of the two after Sunday.
Well, I'm also disappointed a certain team is not in the Final Four. And I think if they won a certain game in the regular season, the chances would have been higher that they would have been. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think that Pittsburgh was probably one of the people that people were thinking about because of their offense, because of their scoring. New England, obviously, was a thought in everybody's mind. It's hard not to predict New England when we're thinking AFC. It's almost an annual tradition that they at least will get to this far.
Well, it is 6 years in a row. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Green Bay, looking back on the year, yes, I think that a lot of people had them favored for the Super Bowl, but if you looked halfway through the year, there was questions if Mike McCarthy would be back next year. And Atlanta, I think that Atlanta was the team that grew the most this year. I don't think people had a lot of people were picking Atlanta to be this far, but I think that they, in a loss, really their statement game was actually a loss. When they lost to Seattle, a lot of people bulged their eyes and said, interesting, the Atlanta Falcons. And it was almost a turning point, and they kept on with their year. So kudos to them. And I think that they've got stronger as the year went on. And I think people are still skeptical of them. We'll get into this, but I think people are starting to gain their respect as well.
Yeah, a lot of Atlanta fans have made it known on this channel in the comments section that they're rising up. We'll see if they rise to
well, that's their hashtag for their run, isn't it? Rise up.
Yeah, rise up. We'll see if they rise up to this challenge of the Green Bay Packers coming into their house. This is the first game we're going to talk about. Obviously, I think Atlanta out of the four teams is the biggest surprise coming into this. Not because of how they played lately, but at the beginning of the season, I was thinking that Atlanta would probably finish second in their division. I didn't think that they would, beat the Panthers out, but then the Panthers collapsed. And Atlanta had a really good, really great offense and continued to improve with some young defensive players. So Atlanta ultimately is in the NFC Championship game. Not only are they in it, but they're hosting it. So Atlanta finished second on offense in terms of yards, 25th in terms of defensive yards given up, third passing, fifth in rushing. Green Bay, 8th in yards per game, 22nd in yards given up, 7th in passing, 20th in rushing. These two teams are both pretty even. They're pretty much mirrors of each other. They both have great quarterbacks. I think that one does have the edge, though. We'll get into that player in just a little bit. Their defenses are very similar as well. Secondaries that are weak but have some pass rushing guys that can get after the quarterback and do make plays and turn the football over when they are needed. I think that Atlanta does have the edge in the run game. They have Freeman, they have Coleman, a combo that's going to be very hard for Green Bay to stop with that passing attack, especially in the Georgia Dome. Another advantage that Atlanta has is at home. I think it's going to be very difficult in the last game in the Dome for Green Bay to win. I know that they've been very successful on the road, and they went into Dallas, an equally hard place to play. But now they're going to Atlanta where the emotion is going to be so high. It's the NFC Championship. It's the last game they're ever going to be in that stadium. It's going to be a very emotional game for Atlanta, and especially will help their defense. But I think the ultimate game breaker here is of course, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I made a video about this guy. Could he be the greatest quarterback of all time? I think he is talent-wise. I don't think he has the resume yet, and I discussed that in the video, but I think he talent-wise is the best quarterback of all time. I think that he could potentially torch this defense. I think Matt Ryan could torch the Packers defense. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be just nonstop action and a very exciting football game. I'm not really sure who I'm going to pick yet. I'm going to let these two guys decide, and then I'm going to say my pick because I'm so borderline that I kind of know who I want to win the game, but I don't know who I think is going to win the game. So I want you guys to decide first, and then I'll try and give the reason why I think the other team will win because you guys might agree. We'll see.
What a snake over here! You want
that feels snaky. That feels completely snaky.
Snakish. You had a reason to do it in the regular season, not this time. All right.
I just feel like I don't know who to pick, man. And why is it always on me to go first? I know I'm supposed to preview the game, but why do I always have to go first and pick it?
Because you present the video.
You present the video. You're the boss. You're the boss.
You guys go ahead. Give your mini preview and tell me who you think is going to win this NFC Championship.
All right, here, I'll go first here. I got to be the one to pick, sir. So, Green Bay, they're coming in here off a hot win against Dallas. Need I remind myself of that again? Of course, Aaron Rodgers stepped up. Again, every single time you put this guy in doubt and you question his game plan, his strategy, whoever he has on offense, he finds a way to win almost every single time in the clutch. He just knows where his receivers are. He can find almost anybody. There's a lot of great talent that is in Aaron Rodgers. And then you go against a team like Atlanta, who has had a fantastic offensive season. They've scored the most points per game in a season in NFL history. You got Matt Ryan over there.
That's not true.
It was in there.
Eighth most.
Okay, still. They still got a pretty good points per game. Thank you, guys. That's still a pretty good overall points per game. You got Matty Ice, whatever you want to call him. I know it's not Matty B, but that's a joke. Matt Ryan, just an absolute killer at the quarterback position. Of course, you got Julio Jones, and what Mitch said that I really like is the Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman combo. That they're really good together, and that's way more running than Green Bay will give you. So it really just comes down to the offenses because, to me, the defense for Green Bay didn't do all that much, but there were a couple of guys that stepped up. Micah Hyde, for sure, stepped up last week. And for the defense on Atlanta, you got Vic Beasley, that's great. Deion Jones. There's some people that can make some plays, and that could be the key for this. But my key is injuries because we know that Jordy Nelson is hurt. He's got fractured ribs, and it's being announced that he's working with the rehab group and is still questionable to doubtful for Sunday's game, which could be fine because he wasn't in Dallas this game. However, Davante Adams has a messed up ankle and is not going to be starting practice until Saturday at the very earliest. So this is a very difficult one. I know which one I want to pick based on the Super Bowl matchup. But if I had, I'm very graphic here, if I had a gun to my head and I had to pick which one I legit thought was going to win this game, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I just feel like this team has this group together. You know, they're in their last game with the Georgia Dome. This is really something that they need for themselves. And on top of that, you've got Matt Ryan, who has been nonstop fire for the last couple of games. I think he's got more of this complete team that is going to get it done. Now, Aaron Rodgers could prove me wrong once again, like he did last week, and I'll be looking like an idiot once again. However, I just feel like this team is the more complete package, the more healthy package, and there's some key factors that Atlanta beats in Green Bay as an overall team that'll get them this win. So I'm going to go with the Falcons in a nail-biter. And on top of that, the Atlanta Falcons did beat Green Bay earlier on in this season at home.
Yeah, I think this is good. I have a couple more things to add here. I think the good point that you brought up was injuries, because right after I stopped talking, I was like, oh, I forgot to bring up the injuries. Like you said, like you told me before this video started, Davante Adams will not practice until Saturday with an ankle injury. That's a big deal. How effective will he be on Sunday? And then also Jordy Nelson, he's injured. He probably won't play. I heard he's going to try and play. But like it's going to be very difficult for him to play. And then Julio Jones, he's injured. He's going to play. No matter what happens, he's going to play. But the thing is, who's going to be more healthy is going to be the big receivers on the team. Adams, Julio, Nelson, Julio. I think that Julio is going to be more healthy, so that could also be a determining factor. And I think, Dylan, you can't really just say it's going to be all up to the offenses, because football is the ultimate team sport.
I understand that. I said there are some players that Atlanta.
You didn't mean that, but maybe one turnover or one play in this game that even the defense makes. Because a lot of times you see in these type of games that it's not really a defensive showdown where they're making you punt. But every once in a while, like we saw in the Cowboys game, maybe there's a turnover or two that decides the game. So that could be the biggest dictator for the defenses. Kev, I'm interested to hear what you say and who you take in this game.
Well, let's first of all, you talked about the home and cooking of Atlanta. 5-3 at home, 6-2 on the road. Their statement game, just to go overall through the season here, was the Atlanta road game in Seattle. Let's look at these two teams and before I get into
the statement game was last week.
Let me talk.
I think it was last week.
Let me talk. No, I don't think it was their statement game. I think that they should have won that game. I think if you talk to any Atlanta Falcon fan, they should have won that game, even after the reveal that Richard Sherman was injured. That was a game they should have won. If the Falcons didn't win that game, they would have. That would have been a terrible season. But let's look at this here. I think that one of the keys of the game is going to be the start of the game. We do know we have two high-powered, high-functioning, creative offenses, and we know that they're both going to get off to a fast start. There's not going to be a feeling-out process here, but I think that one of the keys is who's going to get who gets the 2-score lead. I think that that's going to be very important in this because I think whoever has the 2-score lead will be able to control their game and use their offense and their defense in the way that they can. Now, I don't think that having a 2-score lead is necessarily a guarantee for them to win, because both of these offenses have the ability to come back and have shown the ability to come back. The other key in this is, I think, what's underestimated about the Falcon defense is their physicality. Yes, they're young. Yes, they are inexperienced. Yes, they have a lot of rookies, but they are very physical. They're very fast. I would argue that would be something that the Packers are not used to when they faced the Giants or the Cowboys. I don't think that the Giants were considered a very super physical team. I think the Falcons showed their physicality last week against Seattle. I think for the Packers defense, I think that they're just a very patient defense. They're willing to give you 24 points because they know that their offense is going to score 31. So they're willing to do the 30-point thing. They don't need to do anything super great or super amazing. They just need to be themselves. And I think that the way that Aaron Rodgers has been playing has given them a certain amount of confidence that they don't necessarily need to do a 3-and-out. But they can make the stops when they need to make the stops. And Green Bay has also shown that they will make the plays that they will need to play. Now, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I think one of my questions, and Mitch, you said that there's two sides. I actually will argue that there's three sides because special teams was a huge factor in that game last week between Seattle and Atlanta, and Devin Hester ran roughshod on them. And Devin Hester wasn't the same Devin Hester that we've known from 2007, 2008. But I think that there's a huge factor in this game about the special teams. And I think it's going to play another matter in this because field position is going to be huge in this game on either side. Yes, Jordy Nelson is injured. Yes, Devontae Adams will play on Saturday. But my philosophy on this and what I concluded after that Green Bay-Dallas game is thou shalt not distrust Aaron Rodgers again. And I look at this Atlanta team a little bit like the Seattle Seahawks of 2012. There's a lot of very similar patterns. There's a young team that is just, it's coming. It's there. I don't see them having the night that they are going to be able to pull this off. So I do predict the Green Bay Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl in a very close game that will probably go into overtime. But I think Green Bay is leaving Atlanta and off to Houston in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so it's time for my pick. Who am I going to pick?
Which is the snake going to side with?
Snake.
Okay. Well, if I'm being honest here, I really want the Packers to win. But my logic in my mind, despite how great Aaron Rodgers is, I have to go with the Falcons. They're the team that is at home with all the emotion. They're favored in this game, and I know that's not always a good thing. They have the better run game. I think that they can, even when their passing game maybe needs a break, they can run the football when they're up and ahead in this game. I think they have the more potent offense even than the Cowboys did, and they're capable from coming from behind and winning from ahead as well. They have a couple pass rushers on their team, like Vic Beasley, who I think will give some issues. I'm just a little bit concerned about their defense, whether they'll be aggressive enough to get after Aaron Rodgers. That is a little bit concerning to me. But other than that, I feel like everything is pointing towards Atlanta to win this game, despite how special Aaron Rodgers has been. I don't think Jordy Nelson will play, and ultimately I have to side with the Atlanta Falcons just because I think they're the slightly better team with the home field advantage. So I'm going to go with Atlanta, even though I think this game could go either way. I think it's going to be super close, and I'm rooting for the Packers, even though I think Atlanta will win.
I want to point out that I also want the Packers to win because I think it'd be a better Super Bowl matchup, but I got to go with the brain more than the heart. That's just how it works. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care because I always just enjoy the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter to me.
So you're saying you don't want to see, maybe two of the greatest quarterbacks, depending on, I don't know who you're picking.
The top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Yes, I said it. Going up against each other in the Super Bowl.
Listen. Matt Ryan is going to. Matt Ryan wins this game. He might be in that conversation too. So it's not that he's. It's not that.
It's Matt interesting. I forgot to bring up Kev actually, but Matt Ryan was named NFL Offensive Player of the Year. So today. So
yeah, he won some awards. Yeah.
That's interesting. Does he also win MVP, or does Aaron Rodgers win MVP? Because we know that the guy that has won MVP hasn't won the Super Bowl since 1999.
For quarterbacks, yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's going to be. My sense is it's going to be Matt Ryan winning MVP, but I could be wrong.
Yep. So we're probably Matt Ryan because he was the first team All-Pro, but we'll see. It could be Aaron Rodgers, so it's whatever guy.
Popular.
What?
Popularity contest. They'll give it to.
All right.
They'll give it to Ryan.
Oh, okay.
They'll give Ryan the offensive player.
I'd be surprised though, because they already named Matt Ryan the first team All-Pro. So it would be interesting for them to pick Aaron Rodgers, even though they just picked Matt Ryan to be the first team All-Pro.
They're just trying to give him all these.
Who votes for the All-Pro?
I think it's the same people.
Oh, is it okay?
So that's why I'm swaying towards Matt Ryan winning the award.
We'll give him a little.
I would pick Aaron Rodgers.
I would pick Tom Brady.
Interesting.
I would also pick Aaron Rodgers just because I can't. Fuck. If I doubt the guy anymore, he's gonna win 7 more Super Bowls. So.
All right.
I do think that Dan Quinn should be in the Coach of the Year conversation, and I'm really surprised that he's not.
Yeah, but I guess his thing is defense, and has their defense really been good this year? I don't know.
Their
leadership wise, yeah.
Their defense, it's a young defense. And you look at the numbers as they've gone through the year. They've grown. Actually.
They've improved. They've grown, but I think you can give more credit.
They're not a defense to be intimidated by, in my opinion. Most of them.
I think there's better candidates.
Well, you guys are picking the Falcons. I'm picking the Packers. I'm just saying here. I
know you love Dan Quinn, though. You're a Seahawks guy. All right, let's continue on. We're going to talk about.
Absolutely lost their swagger without Dan Quinn. I will fully agree with that. Fully tell you that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Boom.
So the AFC Championship, the night game technically for this one, the Patriots will host the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the team that wins this game will end up having the most Super Bowl appearances.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very interesting there.
There's a lot of talk between both of these teams before we get into this.
Go ahead.
Shit. Antonio Brown with the Facebook Live post. Bill Belichick with the snap face in Insta chat, and he was asked about home field advantage, and he said, "Well, go ahead and ask Kansas City or Dallas how that feels." A lot of interesting communication between both.
I think the media is trying to stir the pot here.
They really want to get these ratings up for this game because they know the Packers-Falcons is probably going to be the more watched game, so they're like,
I don't know, man.
I don't know that
Patriots,
at all.
It's two of the biggest fan bases. So.
I just have a feeling, but I think it could be this time. We'll see. I just think they like to stir things up a little bit. We get into the season, so.
Yeah, the rain. It says rain here on NFL.com is expected, so maybe a little bit of rain. I don't think it's going to be pouring rain or anything. Expecting a pretty, decent game. Of course, Atlanta's isn't a dome, so you don't have to worry about weather. As far as that whole social media thing, I really don't think once the game starts it has any effect on the game whatsoever. I mean, people will try and say stuff. They'll try and say stuff about Antonio Brown. Maybe he drops a pass and they freak out. I don't know.
How do you drop a pass? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's the Patriots. They're 4th ranked offense in yards, 8th ranked defense, 4th in passing yards, and 7th in rushing yards. 7th for the Steelers offensively, 12th for defense, 5th for passing, and 14th for rushing. So those are the yardage totals for the regular season. The big players to discuss, of course, we have on the Steelers side the killer bees of Roethlisberger, Brown, and Bell, and Boswell, the 4th B, and he didn't want to be involved in that conversation, but that's going to be a big storyline. Let's just talk about that real quick. The Steelers, I think we can safely say they cannot have 18 points or kick that many field goals and beat the New England Patriots. I think that's the first thing we need to point out.
And by the way, he's questionable for this game. So they also, yes, he's actually questionable for this game. So they really can't be doing that if they want to be winning this game.
He's not on the questionable list.
He's on the injury report. Questionable.
Not on the one that I'm seeing.
He's on the one I'm seeing. ESPN.
Dun, 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 dun.
Somebody's
Brown. Broswell did not purchase limited full. Okay, not what I'm seeing, but that's okay. I'll go by what you're saying. I'll trust you.
Okay.
Okay, I don't really think it's going to affect whether he plays or not. I'm pretty sure Boswell is playing. I don't think we have to worry about it.
We're talking about Boswell. Yes, sorry. Boswell's on the list. But yes, I thought you were talking about Brown.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
No,
I just stirring the pot a little bit more. I'm just saying he's on the list.
For the Patriots, I think there's a couple playmakers that kind of go under the radar. Julian Edelman and Dion Lewis both had big games against the Texans. They'll hopefully continue that into this week's game. And maybe, those will be the players that we're talking about instead of Brown and Bell. We'll see. But also it features Tom Brady versus Ben Roethlisberger for only the second time in the AFC Championship or the playoffs in general. And that's very surprising considering one of these quarterbacks other than Peyton Manning has gone to the Super Bowl over the past, 15 years. So it's pretty crazy. It's an AFC trend right now. So rather Ben or Brady will represent the Super Bowl for the AFC once again. For me, I'm going with my Patriots really at this point in the season. I don't really need to say why, but I'm going to give you the reasons why I think they'll win. So I'm going with the Patriots because they're at home, first thing. Second thing, Brady is 4-0 against the Steelers at home. He has thrown 15 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against Tomlin's Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger has struggled against the Patriots. He struggled on the road, and their offense in general this season, even against the Chiefs in Kansas City, has continued to struggle on the road. They've averaged much less points on offense on the road. They only scored 18 against Kansas City, a lot of field goals. I think they will score a touchdown or two in this game, but I still think the Patriots defense can come up and rise to the occasion. I think they're a very underrated defense, as well as I think the Steelers defense is pretty underrated as well. But the Patriots scoring defense continues to improve and play better and play with more confidence. I think that they'll have a good game plan, and the reason why I'm saying that the Patriots defense will have a pretty good game is because the Steelers, everybody looks at them as an offense that's unstoppable, but really you look at them, like I said, on the road, and they haven't been too fantastic. And you also factor in that there's 2 really good players, but besides the 2 really good players, do you have anybody else to worry about? And with Bill Belichick, he's going to at least try and take away one of those players. So for me, I'm going to trust the Patriots and their offense with so many different weapons and just the history of the Patriots and the Steelers, which has been that the Patriots usually win. So I'm going to go with the Patriots at Gillette Stadium to advance to the Super Bowl in Houston. What do you guys got?
So I watched both games between the Steelers and the Chiefs and the Patriots and the Texans, and I was looking for key things within both games. For the Steelers, I saw a lot of struggles. They were, first of all, not able to convert in the red zone, which if you're going to have a chance to beat the Patriots, you have to score in the red zone. As simple as that sounds, it's just going to happen. You cannot score 6 field goals. And with a team that has guys like the Killer Bees, it's kind of bad when you go into this game saying you couldn't do that against the Chiefs, and now you're going to expect to do that against the Patriots, who are an underrated defense. I kind of like some of the players that are around them, and they can make big plays to get an interception or force a fumble. I think they could force a fumble out of Ben Roethlisberger pretty easily, so that could be a key difference in this game. And the Le'Veon Bell continues to be a beast, so I think the key for him is to rush it quite a bit. 167 yards the first game, 170 last game. So if they're going to use somebody to get this win, they're going to have to use Le'Veon Bell quite a bit. But I think the Patriots, in my opinion, are going to really try to stop the run quite a bit, hold them down to as least amount of yards as possible. The big goal, of course, is to stop Antonio Brown, which is going to be a key factor for them. And I think if they do stop Antonio Brown, they have an easier chance of winning this game. For the Patriots against the Texans, I saw struggles early on, but at the end of the day, they still won by 18 points. It's also to incompetency of the quarterback they played, but it comes down to me of how they're going to play against the Steelers team that looked really bad against the Chiefs team. So Tom Brady comes in here, like Mitch said, 4-0 at home against Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin's Steelers. A lot of things going for them. I like Julian Edelman quite a bit. I think he'll get a lot of receptions. I think he's going to be a main target. And I think Tom Brady just seems to be in the clutch every single time. There's certain quarterbacks he's had struggles with, Peyton Manning, and especially in Denver. But I don't think he's really had that much of a pressure when it comes to Ben Roethlisberger. So I'm going to take the Patriots. And your final fact for the day that really makes me believe that the Patriots are going to win is that the Patriots are 15-0 when Dion Lewis hits the field. And he's an absolutely great player. And you saw it last week when he went all over the field and scored 3 different touchdowns. So I think Dion Lewis is a key. 15-0 when he's on the field. They're going to win this game.
That was a Mitch Milani-like stat. Nice job, Dylan.
Thank you.
Well, if we're just comparing to last week, I think neither team is going to came home and said, "Wow, that was a great effort. Thank you." The Steelers, the Steelers have this all lovely style, but no substance to them. They look great. Le'Veon Bell can run all over the field. Antonio Brown can run all over the field, and they look great, and they have some great numbers. And man, if you have them in fantasy, you're happy. But when they needed to score a touchdown, they couldn't get it done. But however, when they get a big play, they can sometimes get that. I am not one that will put Ben in my top 5 of quarterbacks. I just think that if Ben Roethlisberger played in LA or San Francisco or somewhere where there is not as much media attention, sorry, Steeler fans, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger would be considered a top 12 quarterback.
Okay, top 12. I would say this season he's not a top 5, but top 12 is a little harsh.
I think, and I think is where he's playing, he gets a lot of media attention, and I think that he gets a lot more credit than a guy like Russell Wilson, who was hurt all year as well and doesn't get the same attention, respect, things like that. And those numbers are sometimes pretty comparable. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Ben's a completely horrible quarterback, but I think he gets a lot more respect because of the market that he's in. I'll say that. I think defensively, I think that the Pittsburgh is very interesting defensively. I think that they, there are times that they can, they'll come up with the big play, and there are times that they won't. I mean, if you look at the second half of that game against Kansas City, I think the time of possession must have been 11 minutes to 4. So you can control that defense. So you can keep Ben off the field. So this doesn't have to be a shootout. I think at some point we're going to have to talk about the missing of Gronk. I think this is not going to be the game. I really think that the Patriots defense doesn't get enough credit for who they are. And I want to be a contrarian to everyone else here and want to tell you that Pittsburgh's going to win. But I have at the end of my own podcast someone who inspires me, and I actually went with Bill Belichick this week because he is a guy that just simply knows how to focus on the task at hand. And you guys talk about that Facebook Live is not going to mean a hill of beans. It probably doesn't at the end of the game, but I will tell you, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost that game the moment Antonio Brown jumped on Facebook Live. You don't give Bill Belichick any motivation, and I don't think that this is going to be a close game. I think the Patriots are going to absolutely dismantle the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are going to make a statement, and they're going to put the fear of God of Roger Goodell that he's going to have to hand that damn Super Bowl to Tom Brady after the absolute debacle of Deflategate. The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, and it's not going to be as close as people think.
Oh, did you guys hear that Roger Goodell is not going to be at the game?
Wow,
because he hasn't visited Atlanta in a long time. He only visited them last week, so he doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to come this week.
If Donald Trump actually goes through with what he said about firing Roger Goodell, he will be my favorite president of all time. So
he can't fire Roger Goodell.
It is a.
I don't think Donald Trump knows the actual role of president.
Cavill, it's a joke. I just hate Roger Goodell so much.
Hey guys, none of that talk. All right. I want to bring up a couple things I was just thinking about in my mind. A couple key players, key matchups. The guys for the Steelers, the pass rushers, James Harrison and Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree has been a big impact player for the Steelers. If one of those guys can terrorize the Patriots, then they have a chance. I also wanted to bring up that the Texans defense, I think, even was very overlooked going into the Patriots game, but somehow the Patriots still put up the most points and yards against that defense than anybody has this season, and they were the best defense in the league. And Tom Brady got hit a lot in that game. I don't know if he'll get hit that many times. I don't think they'll throw off his rhythm that many times. like they both said, we're all on the Patriots. I think we brought up every point I want to bring up. Oh, last point. This will be interesting. What streak breaks? Will it be Le'Veon Bell's streak, or will it be the Patriots streak of not allowing a 90-yard rusher in 24 straight games?
That's going to end. I'm sorry. That's going to end.
It will
I think that will run.
It will probably end, and I really don't think the Steelers can win unless Le'Veon Bell gets 250 yards.
Holy
shit. Of all-purpose yards, you mean?
Yes. I don't think you can beat the Patriots running the ball all game. I think at a certain point, you're going to look at the scoreboard, and the Patriots are going to be up by 10 points, and you're going to be like, why are we still running the ball? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But they're still going to beat that. They're still going to beat that.
I'm just saying. But yeah, I think it will be a great game to watch, at least exciting. I don't know if I agree with Kevel. I don't know if I'm that bold. I could see it happening, but I'm not going to be that bold. I think it will be somewhere around 7 points.
You're always at these big games when teams are thinking they have a shot, unless your name is the New York Giants, the Patriots seem to come into play with a bit more of a grip. You know what I mean? When it's an opportunity to overtake their kingdom, they have a bit more of a bite, I find, historically.
Yep.
I looked at a couple years ago with Indianapolis. They had the opportunity to dethrone them, and the Patriots just shut that down. They'll just shut down anyone that feels like they have the up-and-coming opportunity to take over the throne. And I think another question here brought up as much is, at some point, the question has to come if B and B retire, and it may be the last run.
Why are so many people talking about that?
Well,
you hear Tom Brady. He's like, I want to play till I'm 45, and then people are like, oh, they're gonna retire this year. Like, where does this stuff come from?
It's only because he's won so many fucking Super Bowls. Like, when do you stop?
It could happen. I don't know.
I
mean.
It could happen.
I don't know how to answer that question. I don't honestly see him stopping until like his play diminishes. You just saw him play an MVP level. He's like, what, 37?
Yeah,
30?
like because with Peyton, he retired, but he wasn't that good anymore.
Look, I'm a huge Peyton fan. He was shit his last year. Okay,
of course, yes, sir.
He was awful. So that his play diminished so badly that he wanted to get that one last Super Bowl and go out. Tom Brady's still playing at least top 3 level. And I'm saying at least because there's 2 other guys in the MVP conversation we're talking about. Yeah. So either his play diminishes or we're going to see this guy go for at least 3 years up until, hell, if he plays till 45 and he's still good, he can play till he's 45 and good. I don't think Super Bowls have anything on his mind. In my opinion, like, holy shit, you got 5 Super Bowls. Chill out. But he's still
I think for Bell, I think more likely at some point it will be Belichick retiring sooner than Brady, I think.
Well, Belichick said he won't coach after 70.
And where is he at? How old is he at now?
64, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Because he's right under Pete Carroll at this point.
Okay. So we've got some time. So it's not an issue. Because, I mean, realistically, if you look at it, if the heir apparent to Belichick is there, so if he wants to go, I think they're still
there's 2 candidates,
yeah.
So I mean, and the 49ers don't have any
and McDaniels really doesn't seem like he wants to leave.
Well, why would you go to San Francisco?
Seriously. The only reason I think he would want to go is to try to do something to fix that team up. But then again, I feel like their general manager is so incompetent, they're going to hire somebody else. He is 64.
They don't have a GM. They're looking for one of those too.
I'm talking about the owner. Sorry, the owner.
Yeah. The owner's incompetent. Yeah. Yes.
I'm trying to think of his name, but it starts with Y.
York.
Yes, Jed York. Belichick's going to be 65 in April, so they have quite a bit of time if he wants to keep coaching.
One place I think this is totally off subject, but one place I think McDaniels could go maybe next year. Look out for the Lions.
Yeah, it's possible.
Bob Quinn was with the Patriots as one of their assistant GMs. He is now the GM. Could see it happening.
Detroit's the team where they could use an offensive mind like McDaniels because I know he would like a young quarter. He is young, but a really talented quarterback in Matthew Stafford.
I think we're going to get some hate from some Steelers fans, and that's all good and dandy. I mean,
Oh, great.
just with me like wearing this shirt, I think we were already going to get some hate from Steelers fans.
Look,
But then me adding that Ben isn't considered a top 10 quarterback because if he played in the West will probably help that.
You sounded like Earl Thomas there.
Well, I actually did not sound like Earl Thomas. What Earl Thomas said was stupid.
Yeah, he's an idiot because he has the Rams and the 49ers in his division.
Well, he's not an idiot, but it was a stupid comment to make.
It was a idiotic comment. I want to tell everybody, when you make these videos, there's always going to be hate, okay? We can't control it. It's an opinion. If you don't like opinions, don't watch, okay? Just because we said your team's going to lose doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah, like
we could very well be wrong.
I
just want to let you know that
for the Super Bowl that the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl, and everybody's like, no, they're not. Okay.
How about let's talk about for all four teams? What if there's one thing that needs to happen? What needs to happen for them to go to the Super Bowl?
Okay, that's a good one. I think the one thing that needs to. Okay, I'll start with Pittsburgh. I think if they're going to win this game, the one thing I did forget to mention is I think they are going to have to score a defensive or special teams touchdown for them to win.
Smart.
I think they can't go offense with New England. They will need to score another way.
Okay.
New England. They just need to be New England. Really.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Did you just be New England? You be you, then you'll be fine. Atlanta. I think for Atlanta to win, as I said, I think they need to get off to a really fast start. They need to get a 2-score lead as quickly as possible so they can control that game. Because if this goes close to close, or even Green Bay is ahead, I don't think it's as easy for Atlanta to come back on Green Bay. And for Green Bay to win, I don't think that they need to be. I think they need to stay away from being further than 10 points down. If they're further than 10 points down, I think that there is going to be some trouble. But as long as Atlanta is within eyeball distance and Aaron Rodgers' distance, are going to be okay.
Okay. I'll just go off Green Bay first. I think if Green Bay is within 3 points and the ball is Aaron Rodgers in his hands at the end of the game, that's what you want.
Yeah.
For Atlanta, I think they need to stay balanced. And like Kev said, they need to have a fast start, but I think they need to stay balanced throughout the game. They need to run the football, pass the football effectively, and maybe force a turnover, something big on defense. For the Steelers, this is difficult, but I think they're going to need to force multiple turnovers to win this game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to need to get an interception or a strip sack or something of that nature. And, of course, they need to convert in the red zone, but the number one thing would be forcing multiple turnovers like the Texans did. For the Patriots, they need to protect the football, and they'll probably win. And they also need to play good red zone defense.
All right. I'll go with Green Bay first. For Green Bay, they just need Aaron Rodgers to be Aaron Rodgers himself. They do not need to be trailing, like you said. I think 14 points is the most they can be out by. I think if Aaron Rodgers comes in clutch, he plays the way he does, there's a chance of winning. However, there's injuries all over the place, so their defense is going to also have to step up. For Atlanta, I think they need to create some turnovers. I think they need to get at least one big moment where they catch Aaron Rodgers off guard and make him make a mistake, which is very difficult, but he can make one every once in a while. He had one interception last week. So if you get that, maybe have a little bit of momentum on your side and also get your home field advantage on, because that'll be key for them. For Pittsburgh, for me, I think you need the running game. I know the Patriots are not really – they're probably going to stop that quite a bit, but I think with Antonio Brown probably getting covered a lot, Le'Veon Bell needs to get to a hot start, and they need to get Brady in some pressure. And for Brady – be Tom Brady. You've got your receivers, you got your players, and I think they're the most dominant team right now. So all they got to do is keep playing their game, play their simple offense, and win the game. Pretty simple for them.
Okay, guys. So those are our picks, our preview for the NFC and AFC championship games. Enjoy the games on Sunday. They should both be exciting. I'm really excited to watch the games, especially the Patriots game.
And
we're going to have a lot of coverage. We're going to have recaps of both of the games on Sunday. We're also going to have, a lot of Super Bowl coverage. We're going to have, Super Bowl, retro Super Bowl recaps and all that, watching the games and going over some old Super Bowls, some lists for the teams that are in the Super Bowl, some focus on the team. So if you're a fan of the team that makes the Super Bowl, we're definitely going to be, your favorite channel on YouTube. So check us out. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for a lot of NFL content, and like the video. Gronk's like the like button. Gronk, hopefully you're in the stands this weekend cheering the team on. I know you're not going to watch this video, but, whatever. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Mitch, Dylan, Kev. We will also be doing a preview on Kev's podcast. Kev, do you want to plug your podcast real quick?
So on Agree or Disagree, the podcast, Spreaker.com/KVOLE. That will be out tomorrow. Adam Kordick will join us as well. So there'll be 4 of us.
All right. So from Mitch, Dylan, Kev, we're out. Peace.